Good afternoon, Handle Star Saber here once again. We're going to take a look at Territory Wars. We're going to take a look at what we can do with offense here. Now, I avoided hitting some of the first line. That was a little bit light for me. I think that's more well suited to some of the lower members, so I kind of avoided that. But now I'm starting to see the second line, so I'm seeing some opportunities here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for ways I can hit these guys where it hurts. Because I want to do, when I hit these guys, I want it to count for something important. I don't want to just throw good teams at rubble. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking a look at what some good fights are, and I'm going to use some good teams that are against them. So I'm seeing some options here. I'm seeing some Talzin. Right now I'm looking at Night Sisters pretty heavily. I see a Mother Talzin 96,000. I see 104,000. That's a pretty strong candidate right there. That's probably one of the best ones. Um, in fact, I might want to throw a bigger team at that. And I'm seeing another Tells and another 79,000, 99,000. So now it's very important when you attack these teams to understand what works on offense against them. So the first one we hit is Jeremy here. I'm going to make the attempt with my Imperial Troopers. Imperial Troopers are considered one of the better counters to your Night Sister team, so I'm going to go ahead and use those. And in this line, I'm going to use my Snow Trooper, my Shore Trooper, my Range Trooper, Colonel Stark, and General Veers. General Veers, unless you bring Thrawn to the mix, is your typical go-to lead. This may not do very well if I'm not modded as well as this guy is. I'm going to try it. Their gear is better. I can tell you on the fly. The reason troopers tend to work is once something dies, if it dies, they tend to speed up and get a lot more hits in. So we're going to take a shot here. You can see this is a pretty beefy team. We're going to have to do a lot of killing here to take one out, and it's going to be close. But we did take out zombies, so that's going to bring up turn meter, and that's going to give us another turn here to kill some more. So we're going to keep on the train going. Okay, we got some more kills. You can see why this team works pretty well. So now we're going to go ahead and mow down some more here, try to take out Daka, because Daka is a very large threat to this team. Now that's a problem because we lost the buffs. This is where things can go south pretty quickly if we're not careful. Yes, it's going to go pretty poorly at this point, because we aren't able to take anything out quite yet beforehand. And Daka got to go, unfortunately. So this didn't go as well as planned. You can see why it does work when it does. We had the advantage there, and it turned south when they got to a few more turns. It is what it is. It's not perfect. No team is perfect. But I'm going to go ahead and try them again. You don't want to take too many times, make too many attempts, unless you know you got a good team to counter it. So I'm not going to hit Jeremy right now. Again, I'm going to leave them be, and we're going to come back to them. But what I'm going to do is I want to hit Papa Bear here, because Papa Bear I know is going to be a big threat. Got some very big teams here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring in some of the biggest hitters in the league here. I doubt they're seeing a lot of these on their team, the Sith Empire. I'm going to bring them in, Sith Trooper, Sith Assassin. Don't have my Malak, unfortunately. That's up and coming. We're going to go ahead and hit that. Try to hit them with as quickly as we can. Now, the nice thing about these, you can go ahead and throw out a shock there. You don't get that initial hit on Talzin, which does a lot of the work for you. And that's unfortunate. That's one of the big factors that can really make the difference here. But what we can do here is we can get fear around, get that horror. And now, once we clear that, that's when we can really go to town. Get Darth Revan in there. Throw in HK. There goes Mother Talzin. Take out Spirit. Not quite yet down, but we can keep working her because she gets to be revived by zombie. Not the end of the world, but I just want to be prepared for that. Okay, so now we cleared that. We can go ahead and take out Ventress. She's going to revive some of the things. That's the one downside there. So the big thing here, Night Sisters are tough. Even with Darth Revan, they can be tough. You got to keep after him. You got to hit hard. And you got to keep the debuffs on as much as you can. That's how you beat this team. Once you get it through, not a very clean thing. This was a very big, nice sister team. It wasn't my favorite one to face at all, but as you can see, we got it down. We used some firepower. We took it out. It can be done. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to look for one of the big CLS teams. Take a look at what CLS teams are out there, because I know that's going to be a struggle for many of you. I see somewhere around 101. I see a 108. We're going to bring in, against the CLS team, we're going to bring in some of the firepower again. We're going to bring a Revan. Both the Revans. We're going to bring our Jolie Bindo. And what do I want to do for tanks? You always want to try to keep it in Jedi unless you bring in Chewbacca. In this case, I don't think I will. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the 4-man. We'll give it a shot. I think I have enough speed to compensate for the fact that it's a 4-man team. But this is one of the bigger, more challenging teams we're facing against. It's got wigs on it, so that's another factor to keep in mind here. So I'm going to have to be fast and furious. That's how to win this game. Okay, we got him out. I'm going to go ahead and take down Han Solo a little bit, because that's one of the bigger threats out here. Okay, keep working. There goes Han. Clear Jolie's buffs. Keep calling Yoda. Hit them down. Stealth Yoda, so keep him out of the fray a little longer. And this doesn't look like it's too hard. As you can see, we 4-manned it, and I don't think we're going to lose any of our players along the way. I think we're okay there. Just keep on working it. Take down Biggs. Yep, and now it's pretty much an auto at this point. So we'll go ahead and knock that out. That's our biggest threat for Commander Luke Skywalker out of their 20 banners. That's a pretty good outcome. So now I'm going to go ahead and back and look at the other Night Sister team, the one I didn't get to, or didn't do very well the first time. Going to hit them again, and I'm going to hit them with a little bit of Triumvirate here. Triumvirate. Try to break their backs that way. We'll throw in a Maul and Savage to help compensate that, because I don't have a lot of my Sith. I used them on other means. They went hard after Maul. That's okay. So what I want to do is isolate Zombie and start working the team. Now, most you don't have Trey at this point, so you don't get to make these types of calls. So this does add a lot of things to the mix. And now we have that down. We still got to work through the zombies revived, so it's going to be an issue here. It's just something to be aware of. Once you hit that third zombie refresh, it should be okay. Okay, gonna have to create some cooldowns there. Slap some days on Zombie. Okay, clear that buff. No reason to annihilate on Zombie, because that's just gonna waste and annihilate. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep on working around to the other team members. That stun on Daka should be huge, I'm hoping. Add some more cooldowns. That's just going to kill zombies, so I'm going to go ahead and save the isolate for another time. Now, there goes Daka. Now that we've cleared Daka, this will be a pretty easy fight as long as I don't lose a character at the wrong time. Remember, when you have the zombie there, you don't want to hit it with the annihilate. You want to hit it with something else. They're going to keep working Scion, which is great. He's the one who's built to take that type of punishment. So we'll just keep after the other Night Sisters. Yeah, let's get rid of Asajj. We don't need her coming back. Work on Talzin. Don't need her coming back. Get Held by Hatred up on our Scion. That'll make him very tough to kill. And since it's an AI-controlled opponent, I don't expect they'll be able to work on Night Sister Initiate. Take her up. Good. Alright. So now we've managed to take some of our toughest opponents off the field. Had to use some heavy hitting teams. I got a few left. I'm not out of firepower yet. I'm going to take a look at what's left, see if it's something that really makes sense to bring me in. I think we'll go ahead and take on this team with Chirrut here, because I bet you they're going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I'm not going to go mirror match. I'm going to, it's a good question when you come across this. How do you want to address it properly? Now, something that is very good at taking out Rebel teams is your Wampa. So if you can plan a Wampa team around it or something, that works pretty particularly well. Or if you can bring in Empire, that also works pretty well. Here I'm going to use a Palpatine lead and try to blow up some of these. Looks like they got the initial kickoff here. That's okay, because what's going to happen next, I have the advantage there in terms of didn't manage to get the days up, which would have helped quite a bit. That's unfortunate. That can be a factor. But Chirrut, when he cleanses buffs, as you'll notice, that didn't help that team one bit. That helped a little bit there. But, ooh, they just took out my Krennic. That's not a good sign. Yeah, this is going not very well. I didn't play this very well. You got to be careful as you're playing these, to be aware of some of the risks your team. Han Solo is one of them. That's why I've been trying for him. Very difficult, but he's been really, really getting those counters in. Well, I'll be able to take him out, so it's not the end of the world. But it's definitely not a clean victory that I was shooting for either. We'll get some kills. We might even take this team out. We're at a solid place right now where I could very much clear the field of this team if play the cards right. That's not a good sign, but we'll keep at it. Keep Luke out of the fight for a little bit. Thrawn is a very powerful asset to have your team if you can work him. As you can see, he brings a lot of control over the battlefield, so even when it looks like things might have been lost on my end, you can see they're starting to come around for us. May not win. It's a close call. Takes a lot of strategy at this point. This is when this game can be a lot of fun too. There goes old Ben. Okay, have no choice but to go after Commander Luke Skywalker. Okay. Keep after him, probably get a stun. That's a problem, but then Thrawn comes around and he turns the battle around again. I cannot overemphasize how critical Thrawn can be to a victory on occasion. He does a lot of things for your team that are just game changers. He's a great plug and play character. And as you can see, what looked like a losing battle has come around, and there we go. There's the victory. Just things to consider along the way. Again, not the cleanest. I'm trying to take out some heavy teams, because that's half the reason I'm here, to do a lot of shock and awe, try to lessen the threat a lot of these teams present. Now I'm going to go ahead after this Lando team, and like I mentioned, I want to bring in a little bit of Wampa love. So I'm going to take a look at who I want to run that team with. We'll go ahead and bring some of these. Actually, let's go ahead and bring in him, take out the TIE pilot, and then bring in the Wampa. Hopefully, if this goes well, you'll see why Wampa can be such a big threat to these opponents. Imperial Probe Droid as well. You can see it cleared all those buffs. Wamp. Start to see why Wampa becomes a huge threat. Does a lot of these counters. Wamp. Days. So now they won't be able to counterattack. They're probably going to take out my leader, which is alright. He's not really there to do much other than to give a lot of the other Imperials some counterattacks. And unfortunately, just have to keep beating on Kenobi. I think we'll go ahead and take him out, despite the fact that it'll give buffs to the rest of the team. That'll be temporary, whereas Wampa will be here for quite a while. So we'll keep on working him. Now, Leia could be actually the biggest threat. That's something to be aware of, because as she's invisible right now, she will not be able to be countered. So let's keep that in mind. Take out Lando. Head back to Luke. That stealth is going to be a problem. That stun's going to be a problem. Okay. They had the control of the battlefield. That was a little bit RNG there. At least we took out a few of their key members, so they won't be able to do as much the next time when I come through. And that's what this is a lot about, a lot of the time. Trial and error, taking out various things. And you can see I'm reserving some of my capability at this time. I don't want to bring in all the goods at once. I want to try to bring in teams that are not as strong necessarily, but have some strength to them. And I want to try to take out as many teams as I can in the process. So now I'm going to bring in a nice little Shaak Ti team. Not very well developed yet. Definitely not where my strength is, but this is to try to clean up as much as we can after. And as long as we keep control of Shaak Ti in the battle, I think we'll be okay. So should be able to take out Leia. Good. Clone Trooper gets to go. Oh, I forgot when that doesn't clear a stun, so I haven't played a lot with Shaak Ti, so I'll make some mistakes there. But she is a very strong character, so lost her. So we'll see if the rest of these can take out Commander Luke by themselves without Shaak Ti. Now, having Rex on the team, that's helpful. So unfortunately, the one thing, the clones, they haven't been reworked yet, so they still kind of hit relatively weak. We're hoping for a good stun here. It didn't happen. That's unfortunate. Might be able to pull off a kill for it. Nope, he got that off. So this is where a Commander Luke Skywalker can take out literally an entire opposing team. It's very unfortunate. It's a little unbalanced, but that's why they're called Hero's Journey characters, because they've got all this capability. We'll keep after him. I think we might be able to luck out and take him out, assuming he doesn't pull off his other ability, which he did. So I think this is going to go south for us, unfortunately. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometime. Commander Luke Skywalkers, they're called Hero's Journey characters for a reason. They got a lot of oomph to them. So unfortunately, this will go into a third. Things to be aware of. You'll get defeated along the way, especially when you're trying to keep your attacks down to not the strongest characters in the field. So I could probably do this with Nest. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to do a slightly smaller team to finish the job. It's still going to be a little bit, hopefully, overkill, but um, if we can't land a stun on CLS, he's still a very dangerous opponent. And he's got a lot of tenacity, this one, I can tell you that as we speak. Try to throw in some of that. Yeah, he's resisting a lot of what we're throwing at him. Okay, that stun could be huge. If we can land more, that would be better. Lost the Magna Guard. Commander Luke is no joke. I mean, if you hadn't noticed by now, he is taking out 4-man teams. And that's on me. I underestimated it a little bit. Trying not to use all of my firepower in this at once. Sometimes when you're not having a lot of success, maybe it's time to let someone else finish the job on that one and just move somewhere else. Take a look what else is out there. Maybe take that out. So now I have Rey Jedi Training. I have Commander Luke Skywalker. I have a few options available. What I'm going to do here now is bring in Rey Jedi Training and a fairly heavy droid contingent. We'll leave C-3PO for the other team, so we'll augment her with a little bit of resistance too. We'll go ahead and put regular Scavenger Rey in there. Now, droids make Jedi Training Rey a very fast team. That's the advantage to this. Not faster than Han Solo. That's something to be aware of. You're not going to be able to counter the hand shot first, but you can still work it in there. So you can. They only get to stun the one target. So once you stun the one, you can hit the rest of the team. Gotta watch Thrawn. He has that fracture. That fracture is a difficult thing to surpass. It takes a lot of the functionality out of this Jedi Training Rey team as well. So that's just something to be cognizant of. We'll focus smoke screen back on R2. So that's truly unfortunate. You lose BB-8. That's a lot of what makes this team special here. I'm not doing as well as I could right now. I mean, I don't usually run these with a territory war, so I'm concentrating maybe a little less than I maybe could on some of the strategy here. And a little bit, it's just fighting unconventional teams I haven't really fought against in a long time. A lot of these things I haven't seen used in a while, so I'm a little rusty, I have to admit too. So I apologize for that. Still try to push through here. Got a Commander Luke Skywalker. Should be able to take him out without too much difficulty at this point. He might take out one more team member. He's still a big threat. You get those. Okay, there we go. So we managed to take him out. So that's pretty solid. Now, take a look at what's left. Okay, we got some Night Sisters with a Talia lead. That's a interesting decision. Got the Mother Talzin lead. That's pretty dangerous. The one with Commander Luke's still pretty dangerous. Let's see the clones here. This will be just for fun. This will be just to be cute. I'm going to bring in Nest against this entire clone squad, just to see what happens. Clones, because they don't really do that much damage, and my Nest has very high tenacity. And I'm just going to run it on an auto here. They're going to beat on Nest. And she's going to be counterattacking like crazy, clearing their buffs, stunning, and just being a general nuisance because they can't hit nest hard enough to be any real significant threat. And by the way, she's getting more powerful every time she goes through this cycle. So you can see she's starting to clear the field by herself. She took out a 5-man squad on auto. Nest is a great tool. If you aren't convinced after watching this video, I don't know what to tell you. But sometimes you can do that. And obviously, from doing that, I save a lot of my other offense for other purposes. So, okay, so that worked out pretty well. Much better than I did. It makes up for a few of these losses to Commander Luke here. Trying to decide if I want to make another attempt with something else, and if I do, what it would be. I'm thinking what I'll do here is bring a little rebel on rebel load, not the highest level, which would be your Commander Luke, but I want to take him out, so I don't want to undercut it, so I'm going to take a 4. Oh, I used hand by accident. That's not good. That was a dumb mistake. It'll work, but maybe a little too well. Yeah, that was a dumb mistake on my part. He's still dangerous. There's no cutting past that. So what you want to do is you want to bring in teams that can, if they can stealth, he can't fire back. You can see that how effective that is. Now he's gone finally. My bad for making it take that long. And lost a pretty good player on the way. And so that's a pretty big hit to take away from you. So you want to be careful about that. That was a dumb mistake. People make mistakes. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to try to take out this next team with Resistance. Resistance is still a pretty strong offensive team. Not as good as it used to be. Finn's leadership Zeta changed pretty dramatically. He doesn't get a lot of the turn meter he used to. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I haven't used it in this context in maybe ever. But if I can still work with the okay, that doesn't break foresight. I knew that. Yeah, that's not good. So as you can see, he's not nearly as good as he once was, which is unfortunate because that may make this a losing battle. And whereas when he was at his best with the Zeta, this probably would have been an easy battle. We would have taken control of the battle, got a few exposes on the field, and the cleanup would have been pretty quick. Whereas now you got Jinner, so she can revive. And there it goes. I just didn't have enough control of the battle. That was my mistake again. I underestimated how difficult my opponent would be. And that happens sometimes. Again, it's a bit of a learning exercise. It's a lot more damage than it was. I do have options available to try to clean up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try some Jedi. These are obviously not the cream of the crop here. But I used a lot of stuff on offense too, so you want to make sure. That's not a good start when you see 2 stuns in the field. I can tell you that right now. And on top of that, RNG is not loving me this round. Try to get Generoso out of the field, not quite. This is looking ugly. Yeah, this is not a strong. Want to get Generoso out of the fight if we can do it. She's where all those revives come from. If she's no longer around, they can no longer revive, and you can keep whittling the team down. So We'll keep on working it. Try to bring in something a little bit less. Ooh, actually, now think about it. We'll bring in some bounty hunters. The B Squad bounty hunters, we'll call these. Because they're not the ones that have leveled nearly as far. They don't have as much damage as a full team would, but they're there to do some cleanup duties if possible. All this preloaded turn meter, that didn't help our cause any, so we're going to have to recover a little bit. Okay, but Generous's out of the field. So now we're in a better position than we once were. Go ahead and bring some more thermal detonators in the field. Maybe it'll take someone out if we're lucky. Okay, there goes our 2. Work Sabine a little bit more. Work Han Solo. More thermal detonators. Put her in stealth. More thermal detonators. Zam Wessel can be a handy tool to have when she starts going. If you hadn't noticed, okay, there goes 1. Gets Han Solo out of the field, he's dangerous. Okay, so there's a victory finally. I took way too long to take that team out. Not an efficient usage here. I'm just going for a lot of kills, and I'm trying not to blow all my best teams doing it here. Now what we got left with CLS, boy, I'm going to go ahead and take out that Chewbacca team. We're going to make it so that's no longer a threat to us in the field. And I've used, unfortunately with the Han Solo we've used elsewhere, I've given myself pretty significantly. That was a huge mistake. That's not who I intended to use there. Mistakes get made sometime, and you just have to recover and try to bounce back. So now Chewie's stunned. That'll help our situation pretty significantly. I have C-3PO in the field. I can start to control the battlefield a lot. See, now our 2 stealth is broken. He can't use that, so we can finish off Chewie. Start to regain control of the battlefield. Got some buffs in the field, so bringing on Ahsoka's special ability makes pretty good sense. Don't know if it'll be enough to take out. Oh, yep, it sure was. So Chirrut's down. That'll help us with our remaining battles. Try to take out Han Solo. Good. That'll help us. Take down turn meter from Commander Luke Skywalker. Dodge. They really don't like the RNG for me today. That's okay. And here we won the battle. So you've seen quite a few battles. You've seen mistakes. You've seen victories. If you're not making attempts, you're not making mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing much for the offense thing. You can see in that short period of time, we hit a lot of targets. I got a couple teams left I can use. I don't think any of them would be really good maybe to take out this Night Sister team. I could make that work. We'll try that with Separatists here, bring our lesser Separatists just to see if we can finish a few more targets, bring in some Geonosians and some Newt Gunray. Newt Gunray can be fun now that they've made the changes to him. He's got the Dubious Challenge, which brings in the I forget the nobility called, but so clear that. Still pretty tough. Night Sister team just used a really weird leader. That's a very odd decision. But my team is kind of weak, so it might not survive. Gunray does come back, though, so that's a wonderful little benefit there. Not looking real strong for my team. So it's a loss. Wasn't a strong lineup. I shouldn't have probably went there. I was trying to bite off a little bit more than I could chew. My mistake. Again, we make mistakes. You just have to try certain things, see what works for you, what doesn't. Unfortunately, this Talia team was well geared and well modded. It wasn't my choice in leader, but they do have high evasion. The Talia evasion leadership does exist. It's just not your optimal one. So unfortunately, lost that battle. And I think I'm going to at least take a break for now. I don't know if I can use any more successfully on offense. This is Nano Star Saber. Good luck in the remainder of the territory.